The franchise's latest parody of the Marvel Cinematic Universe references one of the most divisive elements of Iron Man 3. The franchise has been targeting the blockbuster ecosystem since the opening minutes of the HBO comedy. The cast of the franchise boasts a number of comic actors and even veterans of superhero properties, giving the show's silly and profane sense of comedy a lived-in quality. Amid the scatological jokes and wordplay of Scene 16, Eric's hospital scene, the fifth episode of the show's first season also places a spotlight on one of a controversial decision made by the Iron Man films over a decade ago. The episode draws attention to the bizarre nature of a partnership between Disney and another nation to produce additional footage for one of their movies, while also underscoring the reason such a partnership is controversial in real life. Here's how the franchise's latest parody of the MCU and the film industry as a whole brings in a global superpower. The franchise takes aim at Hollywood's relationship with China. Tecto makes room for some Chinese advertisements. The franchise China Episode 2. The franchise's latest parody of Hollywood blockbusting directly targets major franchises trying to make inroads with Chinese audiences, authorities, and sponsors. After Eric's decision to become a difficult director in the previous episode, studio representatives like Pat decide to use the space set superhero film as a way to make a brand deal with a line of Chinese tractors. Although they are eventually able to find a way to insert it into the film in a way that preserves an emotionally important scene, Eric's frustration gets the better of him and he goes on a silly and profane tirade about China. The comically bizarre speech is quickly leaked to the press, which causes a massive problem for the studio that Eric must solve by inserting more branding for Chinese companies into the film, including for a potentially toxic milk. This is reflective of the way that various Western film studios have been wary of angering the Chinese government or audiences. This has included different cuts of movies being shown in China, adding sequences that celebrate China while removing violence and sexual content the country deems controversial. Eric's outburst moves along the tension between the studio and Tecto, and references some clear real-life events. The franchise pokes fun at the MCU's Chinese product placement in Iron Man 3. The franchise isn't the first superhero story to include reference to Chinese milk and tractors. Tecto being derailed to make room for Chinese product placement feels directly reminiscent of what happened during Iron Man 3. As part of an attempt to make inroads with the Chinese government, Disney and Marvel Studios arranged for Iron Man 3 to have an additional 4 minutes of runtime filmed exclusively for the Chinese cut of the film. The scene gave more screen time to Wang Zueki's minor role of Dr. Wu, while also introducing Fan Bingbing as his assistant. The Chinese version of Iron Man 3 included several moments that are directly parodied in the franchise. This includes a focus on milk products, which the government wanted to reassure the public about after a brand of baby formula was found tainted with mercury. Another scene was effectively an in-universe commercial for a Chinese company that manufactures tractors and cranes. The franchise's harsh view on the subject reflects the larger reaction to Iron Man 3. While the film was a success in China, it was also criticized for its pandering approach to representation for the sake of advertisement, as well as prompting further discussion about Disney's collaborations with China, a subject that would lead to further controversy with films like Mulan. The franchise mocks John Cena's apology to China. The franchise draws attention to celebrity social media apologies. The franchise China Episode 10. The franchise doesn't just draw attention to the MCU in regards to their response to China, either. During an interview for his role in F9, John Cena referred to Taiwan as a country. This is considered a major faux pas in regards to China. As a result, Cena quickly recorded an apology in Mandarin in a bid to appease the nation's government and populace. The franchise pokes fun at this by having Eric make a similar speech during the credits tag of the episode, apologizing for his comments about pandas and other aspects of Chinese culture. The franchise may play the satire for silly laughs, but the commentary is clear thanks to characters like Dag. Alternating between comical obliviousness and precise analysis, Dag is quick to draw attention to the darker but accepted aspects of the film industry. In this episode, her comments draw attention to the moral complications working with a government that has been, as reported by Human Rights Watch, accused of crimes against humanity by the UN. Although the franchise uses the real-life inspiration for hilarious results, it's clear how the series sees the working relationship some studios embrace with China.